Welcome back to the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve in Orlando, Florida, and today we are going to do all the trails. So behind me is this beautiful map here that shows us all the trails in the park, and there was a sign that said, hey, there may be some flooding on the trails, but we're going to see how that actually is today. But right now, we're going to go ahead and get started on the Pine Circle Trail. And like I said, 3.5 miles of trails. We're going to do them all today. Let's go hiking. So it's a beautiful day in Orlando, a little bit overcast, clouds creeping in. And again, any day could be a rainy day in Florida. But we're gonna hope for the best, and also we plan for the worst. So we've got rain jackets, ponchos, rain covers for the Osprey backpack as well. And like I said, today we're gonna be doing all the trails and see if we can squeeze them in. And let's enjoy this. So we're just going to do 3.5 miles, just a little bit over 3.5 miles today. And let's see how much we can get in before this rain really starts to set in. So we're going to keep going left, and we're going to come back to this trail, which is the Fallen Log Crossing, which will go to the right. So we'll see how that loops around as well. So we have been here for a while, and this is one of my favorite preserves in Orlando so far, because these trails are well hiked and they are definitely well taken care of. So the staff at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve does a very good job on maintenance and updating these trails and keeping them nice and fresh. So let's take a couple minutes here to just take in this nature. It's a beautiful green space. We're doing a late afternoon hike, so it's just about 3 o'clock, and it is a little bit dicey for the weather, but that's okay, because we are in it to win it. Generally do these trails in the morning when it's a little bit cooler. It's pushing probably about, I'd say 96 to 98 degrees right now. We definitely have our sun protection today, our Omni Shade shirts from Columbia, shorts that give that sun protection as well as sunscreen. Got my Tilly hat on, and I've got some Maui Jim sunglasses on today. So that's usually a pretty standard essential equipment list for me. And last time we were on this trail in the morning, we met up with Mr. Raccoon. That was spooked as we would come around the corner and ran up into a tree, and then got comfortable pretty quickly and came down and started foraging through the thicket for its breakfast. So I wonder if we're going to see any animals today. Again, don't feed the animals. Try not to do any encounters with any animals, because that's definitely not what we want to do. It's not fair to them, because we don't want them to get dependent on us. We're clipping along pretty well here. There's a good breeze coming through. And like I said, there's a front coming through, pushing across Florida. And we're actually in central Florida. It's just a beautiful day. So we're continuing on the Pine Circle Trail. That'll lead us back to the Nature Center and connect us to all the other trails as well. So we got a plan. And the plan is to hike all the trails. Hopefully we can access them all. I did see a sign that says it was flooded, so we'll see what that actually means. Carrying bear spray today, because you never know what Florida wildlife's going to show up on the trail with you. Friend or foe, don't know. But at the same time, you always want to be prepared. Also carrying a Sog's fixed blade knife. I carry that in a sheath on my person. Hear a lot of movement in these thickets here. The thicket is pretty daggone thick. And again, we're on the Pine Circle Trail, so we're gonna navigate this one. This is a nice trail. The trail tread is actually sand and grass, and it's just wide, nice and wide. And I can put my trekking pole across, and it's still got room on each side, but it does narrow in some of the areas. As you'll see, some of the trails here get a little bit more technical and have some warning signs for folks that are, I guess, not experienced hikers, or at least have some experience. But for now, let's enjoy the trail for a little bit and see if we can hike all these trails today. That is our goal. And I'm very thankful for all the equipment that I have. I'm carrying majority of my equipment on my back in a 24-liter Osprey Stratos backpack. And so far so good with this backpack. It fits tight, it's adjustable. I had the folks from REI fit me forward as well, and actually was attending the class at REI this morning and was able to discuss and make sure I was positioning the backpack right and it was measured right, because it was giving me some discomfort, which really all it took was just stopping and taking the pack off, repositioning a few things, and then putting it back on. But they definitely showed me a diagram and walked me through it on how it's supposed to be on top of my hips to be able to take all the support off my knees and off my lower back. So right now, with all those adjustments, the pack feels great. The Pine Circle Trail has some canopy to it. It's got some beautiful trees here with this moss on it. And the trail tread, which is again everything that's under my feet when I'm hiking, is sand and a little bit of leaves and soil once in a while, as well as grass and some vegetation. I do like this trail. I've hiked this a couple times. I haven't been here for a while, but I love coming back to the local trails, because I am using these and every trail to train for my first through hike. And I'll give you more data about that as it comes through, but it will be very early 2026, and it's going to be a long one, friends. So I've been talking to the folks from REI and a new contact, very experienced folks at REI. My contact Randy has actually completed the same through hike that I'm training for, so very knowledgeable, and I really appreciate Randy's time and expertise talking about different equipment, talking about different setups, from the sleep systems to the cooking stoves. I also talked to Sheila, and she very much is the same, as being very open and helpful and a lot of experience. She actually through hiked the AT, which is short for the Appalachian Trail, which is definitely on the list of through hikes. Do you have a favorite trail, or have you done any long trail through hikes in the US or international? Let me know. Tell me about it. Tell me about your experience, because I know that everybody's experience is different. As we're crossing the road here, we're continuing on the Pine Circle Trail. And these trails are pretty well marked. You have one that's a little bit more, I guess you could say, backcountry for this preserve, which is the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve. That one is full of yellow and blue blazes, which are little markers on the trees that tell you how to stay on the trail and which direction you're going, which is awesome. But not all trails have those. They have different types of markings that you got to look out for. There are so many trails in Central Florida and Florida, and so little time. I'll tell you, I mean, it takes time to really logistically plan out some of these longer trails, like I did yesterday during the National Trails Day. That is the product of the American Hiking Society. And I'm looking more into them as to see what kind of resources they have. Because a lot of these, specialty type of societies and different organizations, they have different resources and different outreach, and it's just always exciting to see what people are doing, and from projects to fundraisers to just general resources available. Already sweating. We're almost halfway around this trail, but it's definitely warm out here. I'm carrying 2 liters of water today. One is part Gatorade. I found that little G2 pouches of Gatorade really help replenish the electrolytes and that sweat that I'm losing pretty fast during these hikes, especially in summertime. And hiking is an aerobic activity. I mean, I'm hiking and obviously have my watch tracking me, Apple Watch specifically, tracking vitals and such. We can see some more trail signs here that tell you you're actually on the Pine Circle Trail. And all these trails have those types of signs and markings as well. So here's that caution I was telling you about. This is going to be the trailhead right here for the Palmetto Passage, which is not recommended for novice hikers, but it's definitely one that we've done many times. And this may be the one that's flooded, but we'll find out. We're going to continue on the Pine Circle Trail, and we're going to come back to that trail. However, we're going to access it from the Fallen Log Crossing. So there's 2 trailhead access to that. But that's a great one. That's pretty technical. That was the first really technical trail that I was training on locally. And definitely has some roots and different types of trail tread that make you think. Because really, hiking is, like I said, aerobic. So you're getting that physical element to this. Again, tracking heart rate with my Apple Watch, which I just recently started using. And it's linked to my phone, which is also an iPhone. And you can see on this where I'm at, just actually regulated. So this is actually where I'm at within the Tibet-Butler Preserve. And this has been pretty daggone useful, I'll tell you, as a secondary or even tertiary type of backup map. A lot of times I will be carrying the map with me because I know this trail system in here. I actually don't have the paper map, but I've got it pretty well mapped in my brain on where this goes, and it just takes a couple times to really understand the trail system. But I do encourage you to carry a map, and usually I'll just have it. I carry it in a plastic sheet protector. It helps protect it from the elements. Honestly, that's my primary or secondary resource while I'm hiking, is the map, the physical map. And then the phone app, I've got a compass. I'm carrying a Sunto A10 today, which allows me to access the northern hemisphere. So we're going to also come back to this trailhead. I'll turn real quick. So this is the Screech Owl Trail, and you can access this also from the Pine Circle Trail, which we're on now, and also from the Fallen Log Crossing, which we will actually be on very shortly, because we're almost back to the nature center via the Pine Circle Trail. So if you're thinking about hiking and you live in the Orlando area or any locations nearby, this is definitely one of the training grounds that you can start learning navigation, signage, and just being in nature. Because it is extremely beneficial to be out in nature. It looks like they've been doing some work here. They've cleared some of this area right here that wasn't clear before, so maybe just trying to get the undergrowth away from the nature preserve, which is on my left right now. So we are almost full circle here. Again, we started at the nature preserve. That's where that big map was. And then we are coming full circle back to the Pine Circle Trail. So now we're going to go ahead and go left again and continue our journey here to hike all the trails today. All right, as we continue hiking here, we're going to be taking a right towards the Fallen Log Crossing. And this is a fun trail as well. You can see right off the bat there is a lot of pine needles on this trail. And there's a section right here off to the right, and that will actually link you to the Screech Owl Trail as well. So we'll hike that one a little bit, but that is actually the trailhead on this side, which I was telling you there's two. So there's two trailheads for the Screech Owl Trail, one off of Pine Circle and then one off of where we're on right now, which is the Fallen Log Crossing. And the Fallen Log Crossing is unique, as you can see, that I'm actually walking on a raised boardwalk that will allow me to go over some of the wetlands here, which I'm seeing more and more within a lot of these preserves and parks and just different trails, which I think is absolutely awesome. As you can see, we're continuing on this boardwalk, and I think it's very cool because they allow you to access some of the areas that you can access, but it is definitely going to be interesting to try to get through, because I'm looking just down at the ground here, and it is absolutely thick. So it would take you a while to get through. But again, we can get through it if we need to. It's just going to take a little bit of time. This is more of a direct approach to go across here. And I really appreciate the staff here. I was actually just talking to them a second ago off camera, and real nice. They were maintaining, doing some pruning here. I can see it. They were maintaining some of the trail. You can see where it's been pruned off here. And I can see it in a little bit further ahead too. But the staff is very cool, very friendly, very knowledgeable about equipment, about different trails as well, and specifically where they're at right now. And they've worked at other parks as well. When I talk about parks, I'm talking about more nature preserves and more natural space, green space parks. Yes, we're near Disney. Yes, we're near SeaWorld. And we're near Universal. And those are parks, but those are the theme parks. So these are the more natural parks. So as we progress farther down this boardwalk, it's getting a little spooky, dreary here, because I know those clouds are coming. But this feels so good with this forest here, this canopy of a mix of pines and different types of trees in here. I'm not too far from the natural trail tread here, and just about, I'd say about 300 steps or less. This little part, you may be able to bring in a wheelchair or a person mover, I like to call them, that has pneumatic wheels, like the one that you can use at the beach. I know I used that for my father when we accessed the beach, and it was phenomenal, but I see no reason you can't use that here. Might be a little tough going down those steps right there, but If you go down backwards, you might be able to do it. But again, you got to check with the staff to see if that's even permitted. But I can see it. I can visualize it. So we're on that natural trail tread right now. And so excited to be on the au naturel part of this. And I'm going to show you real quick. Here's some signage right here for the fallen log crossing trail that allows us to know where we're at, and really appreciate that, because it keeps you focused, it keeps you centered, it keeps you on the trail, because you really don't want to veer off the trail too much, because number one, you might get lost. Number two, there might be things out there. Snakes, bears, everything. So just want to pay attention to that. And they'll also caution you to stay on the trail. And that's everywhere. That's the state parks, the Florida state parks. That's the national parks in Florida. That's the county parks. That's the local parks. Doesn't matter what it is related to staying on the trail, because their trail's here for a reason. And if you go off the trail, obviously you can do some damage to nature by either trying to get through it or stomping on it. So this trail, again, very easy. It's flat, most part. There's no real elevation gain to it. I think I may get, I don't know, maybe 7 feet of elevation gain throughout this whole property. I think that's what I looked at last time. But there's some seating areas we're passing right now. So if you need to take a break, because we're right now about, I don't know, almost a mile into the 2 trails. So the first trail we did was the Pine Circle Trail, and now we're hiking the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. And so far so good. I was talking to the staff, and obviously they know my experience with the hiking and the equipment I'm carrying, and said that I shouldn't have any issues with any of the trails that might be posted for flooding, because they know I know how to work around it. But at the same time, I'm not going around to the point where I'm going off trail. We'll just figure out how to get past it when we get to it. So, as I've heard before, somebody tell me, we'll cross our bridge when we have to. All right, so right now we're actually right next to the trailhead for the Palmetto Passage. So that's something we'll come back to, and we're going to hike that as well, which depending on where we're going to access it from. So let's keep on the Fallen Log Crossing. Let's just take a few minutes and just listen to the sounds of nature. I'm going to stop for just a second here by this signage. I want to just really soak in that nature. It's just still. A little bit of breeze. I do hear some cars in the distance. But overall, it is peaceful. So let's continue on the Fallen Log Crossing. Let's keep hiking. So I always wonder what it would be to hear literally nothing out in nature other than what is actually living in that green space. So no car noise, no airplanes, because a lot of times they may be flying at an altitude that's much higher than in the Orlando area, because the airport is pretty close to here. So we get a lot of the airplane noise. But just, I wonder what that sensation, that perception is of just only nature noise. And I wonder if I can just hear my heartbeat if I sit still and just focus on breathing. It's very peaceful thinking about that, and very relaxing to think that that is possible. So hopefully I will be able to experience that one day. And I'm sure I will. Being able to make these videos for you and to show you some of the trails that I'm training on and hiking for benefits of mental health, because there's a lot of benefits of hiking on mental health, and it's just not really surprising, but it's just something that you don't think too much about, because a lot of times the management of mental illness is medication, I got to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but a lot of times, hopefully, one of those psychiatrists, psychologists, or even your primary care physician is got a holistic mindset and can add something like hiking to your treatment plan and prescribe it and say, hey, get out in nature, get some behavioral activation. I know as a psychologist, I have done it many times for folks to say, look, let's prescribe you activity, such as hiking. So there's a little shelter here to my left. So it's wooden, it's got a bench on it, but it definitely has some shade. Because like right now, it's about almost 3:30, but the sun is still out. But this is a pretty good relief. I'm kind of standing inside the shade. But let's keep hiking and see what we can find. We're actually going to be ending the Fallen Log Crossing right now, and we're going to be able to go to the Tarflower Loop, which is going to be to my right. And then when we come back, we're going to loop back around, and we can go back to the Vera Carter Environmental Center. But before that, we're going to go right across here and go over to the Osprey Overlook. So, like I said, we're going to do all the trails. So let's keep hiking and see what we can find. But this is the Tarflower Loop. And this one is definitely a different trail tread than most here, because it is that bright white sand. A few pine needles here and there. But you can see the loop function of this right here, because you can actually go to your left or you can go to your right, and it's going to come right back to center where we're standing right now. So we're going to go to the right and come back. You know what? Let's go to the left. Let's come to the left. We haven't done the left yet. So right now we'll come back to center here. So instead of, we usually go right, let's go ahead and go left. Let's go left and then come back around. I think that's a in the moment type of decision. Changing it up a little bit. And this is usually the part of this trail that I remember saying, you know, it's really hugging you. Nature, that is. It hugs you. I mean, it's about the width of my Trekology trekking pole, but it still feels like it's hugging me. And I appreciate that, nature. Hugs are great. And what a better hug than from Mother Nature, right? So we will continue hiking Tarflower Loop a different way than we've done before. Always cool to get a different perspective of the trail. And really, right off the bat, my brain, my mind, and my spatial function of thinking is trying to put it together that we're actually going this way. So it's taking a moment to set in. I know where I'm going, but at the same time, it's just trying to put in perspective of, hey, we're going different than we usually do. We're doing something different. You know what? That's okay. It's okay to do something different once in a while, right? Change it up. Our goal is still to finish all these trails today. Got a pigeon in front of me there. Good afternoon, pigeon. And we're going to meet our goal. The sunshine is still out, and I'm watching those clouds. I'm looking up just as much as I'm looking down, just to make sure we're not being approached by a mid-afternoon storm, which is very common in the summertime in Florida. But sometimes as soon as they actually show up, the storm that is, they go away. So It's telling me right here that I'm on the tar flower loop. And that's that signage I was telling you is pretty consistent for each trail. So we will continue hiking. Benefits of hiking on mental health are just so many. And I think right off the bat is that stress reduction. I mean, as soon as you step on these trails, as soon as you pull up knowing that you're going to go do a trail, that stress level just reduces. And anxiety, it can reduce anxiety. It can reduce those depression symptoms that may show up. And like I was telling before, is that sometimes that behavioral activation, which simply means just go do something. Get out and go do something. Get out of your house. Get out of wherever you're seated on the couch or in a chair or in your bed sleeping because you just don't feel like doing anything. And I mean, that's part of that symptomatology of depression is withdrawing, not doing the activities in life and the things in life that you enjoy. So that's why I would, prescribe somebody just simply non-pharmacological behavioral activation, which means no meds. Just go do something. Go hike. Plan a hike. Look forward to a hike. Plan a trip. Plan a cruise. Plan something. Even just, hey, plan to go to the grocery store and walk the aisles for an hour. Whatever it is, especially if it's hot outside. You can go to the mall and walk around. But just being out, being near people, having that socialization, that can lift that mood. That can improve that mood. That can boost that mood, whatever you want to call it. But those benefits are just clear and present. And problem solving, like we had to do on many trails. You'll hear me pause sometimes when something shows up that's in front of me. I'm like, okay, well, what do I do now? Or which way do I go? Just like here. Don't need to make the choice because it's telling me I can go either way on the tar flower loop and still go the right way. So we're continuing hiking a different way, but we're still going to end up in the same place. And there's a lot of mental illness in our societies worldwide, locally, local communities, and people manage the symptoms differently. Some people manage it with medication, which is okay. We'll take the stigma off of that right off the bat. It's okay to take medication if that's what's prescribed, if that's part of your treatment plan. And you're working with a doctor, physician, or a psychiatrist that can prescribe medication. Again, there's nothing wrong with it because I know from being a psychologist that, I really look at the medication compliance when I'm working with somebody that is, let's just say, has schizophrenia or has a psychotic disorder or has, symptoms of depression or anxiety. Are they on meds? Are they actually taking them? And we'll get into one day talking about more about folks taking the prescribed medication and then using other types of substances because they don't think the medication is working. And a lot of times what happens, and I've seen this in different populations, is that it becomes dangerous pretty quickly, and actually the substance that is not prescribed cancels out the medication that is prescribed. And that can become dangerous pretty quickly and cause some pretty interesting behaviors, from disruptive behaviors all the way down to different physiological and other mental issues. So you got to be very careful on what other recreational types of substances you're using. And that includes alcohol. That includes cannabis. So we're continuing on the tar flower loop. Again, we're going the opposite way than we usually do, so it's giving my brain a little bit different perception here, which is always cool because it's training it. It's training something different. Because really, that's what we do, is we train and retrain our brain. And it's possible. And really, it's possible from a very young age to even an older age. So right now, we are, I'll point to it here with my trekking pole. This is actually the crossing where the loop is. So we actually went to the right here when we started. So now we're going to be going back towards the Vera Carter Environmental Center. So I'm trying to continuously video this whole section here of trails. Really, it's all the trails here at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve to show you, hey, you can do all these trails. A little bit over 3.5 miles of trail here. Because now we're back on the, I guess we could call the continuation of the fallen log crossing. But before we continue back towards the nature center, we're going to go over here to our left here and do the Osprey Overlook, which has a treat for us at the end of the trail. So let's keep hiking and see what that treat is as we're hiking the Osprey Overlook Trail. And you can see the signage on the Osprey Overlook Trail, and it's showing you that you are actually on the trail, and this will kind of keep you oriented as you keep hiking. So let's do just that. Let's keep hiking. You may see some difference in the video stabilization here because my DJI Pocket 3 shut down on me as we were coming into the trailhead because it overheated. So I'm gonna problem solve that. That's the first time, and I've done long trails with that already, and it hasn't done it. So it must just be extra hot out here. So we're gonna continue capturing as much as we can as we switch devices and bring the rest of the trails to you. So let's continue on the Osprey Overlook. So as you can see, when we got to pretty much the end of the natural trail tread on the Osprey Overlook, there is a wooden boardwalk. So hooray for boardwalks. I'm getting to like them more and more as they are integrated in these parks and preserves. So let's go ahead and walk the boardwalk and see what treat is at the end here. As you can see, we're almost to the end of the boardwalk here on the Osprey Overlook Trail. And getting closer and closer to find out what's there. So very exciting. All right, so we have made it to the end point on the Osprey Overlook Trail at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve. And here is that beautiful treat from nature. Look at that. You hear the frogs in the distance on the lily pads, but look at that green space. And if you can hear all the frogs communicating here. Wow, I can hear at least 4 or 5. Look at that beautiful bird. Wow. So we can see osprey out here. You can also see some river otter. A lot of cypress trees. Sawgrass. Such a beautiful space. Lots of lily pads. So we are actually in the middle of all the trails at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve. And the DJI cooled down enough that I could actually turn it on and you can actually see me. So I just took a break underneath this beautiful little pavilion that is at the end of the Osprey Overlook Trail before we go back. But behind me is that beautiful green space of all that wetland right there. And I can hear the frogs and all the birds and such. But right now I'm underneath this little pavilion here and enjoying the shade for a little bit. Went ahead and took a little break and to drink some water with some Gatorade in it because I am dripping sweat because it is hot out here. I can feel that that storm is brewing. So that afternoon Florida storm is coming. It's not even on the radar, but guess what? Here we go. So we're going to go ahead and head back towards the Fallen Log Crossing Trail from this viewpoint here. And then we're going to continue on and do the Palmetto Crossing. And then eventually we'll link up with the Pine Circle Trail, and then also finish up with the Screech Owl Trail, and then back towards the Nature Center. So that's the plan. So let's go hiking. All right, let's head back down the boardwalk, and then we're gonna access the Fallen Log Crossing Trail back towards the Nature Center. But before we reach the Nature Center, we're gonna see if we can access the Palmetto Crossing Trail and see how that goes, see if it's flooded or not. So again, the bottom of the Osprey Overlook Boardwalk, we're gonna get back onto that natural trail tread, which is got that beautiful odor of soil and pine needles, these beautiful trees that we're walking next to, and all the vegetation. So we will soon be back on the Fallen Log Crossing Trail very shortly. Let's keep hiking. All right, so we are just about to the out and back portion of the Osprey Loop Trail, and we're going to be turning left here and heading back towards the Nature Center on the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. Again, there's that shelter with the shade that we were standing in on the out portion of this trail. And as we go back, we see it again. So you can start seeing some stuff that's familiar. And pay attention to that kind of stuff, because you never know if you, or more so when, you're going to have to backtrack. Because you may get off trail and go down a different path that's going to take in a whole other direction. So let's pick up the Palmetto Crossing trailhead here in just a minute as we continue hiking on the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. Let's keep hiking. All right, we are approaching the junction here on the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. And we're going to go left here towards the Palmetto Passage trailhead that has the caution to it that obviously there could be difficult and wet terrain ahead, and the Palmetto Passage is not recommended for hikers or children. Appropriate footwear required. Portions of the trail may be flooded. Do not approach or feed wildlife. Enjoy a trail at your own risk. So let's keep hiking. This Palmetto Crossing is one of my favorite trails here. I mean, they're all special and unique in their own way, but this one is definitely more technical, and you're going to see why very quickly. I'm going to show you why there's a warning. So right off the bat, there's these roots that are right in front of me that are going to become more prevalent as we go through. I mean, this trail tread is primarily flat. I mean, there's really no elevation gain to it. I mean, the whole Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve is probably, I don't know, between 7 and 13 feet of elevation gain. So we'll see if we can get any higher. I don't know. But there are some areas here that I do know that can flood pretty quickly if there's a lot of rain. And it's summertime, surprise, because summertime Florida, lots of rain. June 1st, guess what the start of that season is? Hurricane season. So I just want to back up just 2 seconds here. All right, so I want to show you real quick. Here's the yellow blaze that's showing us that we're on the trail, and that this is the direction we're traveling. There's 2 directions to this trail. There's a yellow blaze direction, which goes from the Fallen Log Crossing Trail to the Pine Circle Trail. And then if you go the blue blaze direction, you're going to be going from the opposite way, which is from the Pine Circle Trail to the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. So just the opposite. But again, blue versus yellow blazes. And we'll try to find a blue blaze so you can see that. But you can also check out my video too. I did this trail not too long ago from the blue blaze direction. So if you got time and you're willing, check that out. You can see the trees provide a much appreciated canopy here and some shade, because it is bright. We got some cloud coverage too, so it's not as sunny as it usually is in here, but if it was full sun like it can be, it would actually be even much more appreciated. You can see there's a lot of roots on this trail. And I hear a lot of lizards and insects in the thicket that's next to me here that lines this trail. We had our first turtle encounter here. The turtle was actually on the side of the trail going into the thicket, and I guess he stopped long enough to say hello to me. I'll post a little video of that right here so you can see that. It was a pretty good sized turtle. Again, this is all wetlands and swamp and different ecosystems as well, so not surprising. The raccoons, turtles, squirrels, everything in here. So you can see how I'm kind of going up and down here. The camera's got a built-in stability, but you might not see me, but I'm going up and down as we go across these roots and raised portions of the trail. We're coming to a new part of this, because I saw this when I was actually hiking the other day. The new part is the shelter right here. That is a beauty. So that is something where you can actually seek cover in inclement weather or for shade. So thank you for putting that out. So we're on, keep hiking on this bridge / boardwalk, I guess small bridge that takes us over this very wet area. It looks like it actually has some flow to it, and we're right back onto the natural trail tread. There's no flooding yet. This is a new bridge that was put in by some local volunteers, and even painted it green. How beautiful. So thank you again for that new accessory. All right, I can see where the trail is a little bit wet here, but nothing really to speak of. Nothing we can't get around. We're crossing the access road here, or a fire road that crosses over the Palmetto crossing path several times. At least 2 times we'll cross it. And then we're right back into that cover of these beautiful trees. So again, the technical piece of this, like I said, is all these roots and these raised areas. Nothing we cannot get around. Hey, look, there's that yellow blaze right here, telling us that we're on the trail, because when it gets more remote or backcountry like this, this one is, you want to make sure you're on the trail. You can get off trail pretty quickly. Even though this trail is pretty well dug in, you just use your imagination. You can see the path as it kind of just bobs and weaves through this forest here. But very helpful to get those bearings and keep those bearings, because they've got them pretty frequent in here. I'll see if I can find the one that is both the yellow blaze on one side and the blue blaze on the other side of the tree. It's up here somewhere. If not, you can check out my video when I actually did the blue blaze direction of this trail. But it feels so good in here right now. I mean, it was so hot on the other trails because they're pretty well exposed. Oh, here we go. So I was talking about right here. So the yellow blaze and the blue blaze are right next to each other. So obviously you're going to go to my left, you're going to go the blue blaze direction, and that's going to take you to the Fallen Log Crossing trail. And then we're continuing on the yellow blaze, which is right here. That's going to take us to the Pine Crossing trail. So let's keep hiking. Some of the organizations that I'm familiar with related to community outreach, or just organizations that some are nonprofit or for-profit, but there's one, the Wounded Warrior Project, that I became very familiar with when I used to work with veterans, and that was my favorite population to work with, and definitely rewarding in every aspect. So I always appreciate the service of every veteran, and I tell them so every time I see them. However, some of these organizations, they do a lot of outreach and they do a lot of activities, and Wounded Warrior Project comes to mind as one that does a lot of outdoor activities, and they use that behavioral activation to help reduce the symptoms of PTSD and anxiety and stress, and specifically for folks that are coming home and from theater and they are having a difficult time adapting back to their old job or job that was waiting for them. They may be in the reserves or active duty. They also have to adapt to home life and kids that might be a lot older than they were when they first got deployed. So there's a lot to the lives and recovery and being able to readapt and readjust to deployment. And it's not just the veteran, it's their family as well. Kids, support system, significant others, parents, siblings, everybody. And some folks have a tough time. And the outreach a lot of times and activities are designed to help with that recovery. You know, a lot of times they may not have psychologists per se working within that network. However, they can link them to psychology services, but they have different jobs that have that activity-oriented type of approach for the veterans. And I'd love to see the benefits of hiking on mental health of specifically veterans, because I know they can really benefit from being out in nature and being outdoors. And sometimes the PTSD symptoms, which stands for post-traumatic stress, can be overwhelming and really disrupt life. So I don't know, maybe I'll talk to them one day and see if they'd like to collaborate. Maybe I can do a video with them one day focused on hiking and mental health. Everything's possible. But definitely an organization that is very beneficial. So I did see a little bit of water here, and I could see some of the areas that probably were flooded. A little squishy. Oh, here we go. So this is probably the dried up portion right here of this, but really what we do is just walk around it. How about that? Be very careful. There are holes, invasive type of plants, and we can kind of stay to the edge of the trail. Actually, let's cross over. Let's give it a different perspective. But that water, that's the flooding that we're talking about, this whole area. I knew this was low, but you can see it's probably not as flooded as it was in the past couple of days, because we've been getting a lot of rain in Central Florida. We need it. Like I said, that's the problem-solving piece to the hiking, is that sometimes you gotta figure out a way to get around the obstacles that are right in front of you. And man, doesn't that apply to life in general. A lot of times you got these visions and goals and values of what you want to do and what you want to be, and it seems like a lot of times stuff just gets in the way. And stuff is being in this flooded area too. Different family issues to financial issues to whatever it may be. It's a little soft here, so we're going to go a little bit more this way and cross over. So not too hard. I could have gone the other way. It'd probably been easier. The other way around, that is, that water. But it's okay. We got through it. But stuff gets in the way. And we've got to figure out a way around it, because we want to succeed. We want to do what we can and want to do in this life to the best of our ability with the resources that we are provided or have. And that is something that the harder we work, the more we can achieve. How about that formula for you? I do have my waterproof Merrill hiking shoes on today, which is, it's helpful. I haven't got a shoe full of water yet, which is good. But I definitely see the potential of stepping in water, but right now we're able to navigate around it, so not an issue, but it's still a little soggy. You got to be very careful with footing when you walk through here. We are successfully going to navigate this. We're going to meet our goal. How about that? And hopefully, knock on wood, stay as dry as we can. All right, so there's another little way around here. Up and over here. And we're still on the trail. I didn't see that. This is fun. This is fun. It's a little bit more challenging to our already technical trail, just when it's dry. This allows you to explore a little bit more of the actual boundaries of the trail more. Having to bob and weave and avoid. I do want to tell you, as we're hiking here, is really appreciate you watching these videos. And like I say in a lot of the videos, most of them, I hope I do. If I don't, I apologize. That I'm glad you're here with me today, exploring the trails, all the trails at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve in Orlando, Florida. And I made videos of these individually, but never all in one day. So this is probably a little bit longer video, but it's giving hope to folks that just have a little bit of time and want to come out and explore nature and really reap the benefits of being in nature, which include a real strong impact positively on mental health and physical health. Looks like we might be out of that swampy area of the Palmetto Crossing Trail, which is okay because it wasn't that bad. But again, if you're not used to that, or you don't want to get your feet wet or a chance of getting wet, then I would steer clear during the rainy season in Florida, which is summer. So if you have any favorite trails yourself, let me know. Comment, contact me, tell me what your favorite trail is, where it's located, and tell me about the trail. What was your experience? Is it an easy trail? Is it a difficult trail? A technical trail? Is it a short hike, long hike? What was the trail tread like? Was it sand? Was it snow? Was it a state forest, a national park, national forest, county park? Like I say, any trail is a good trail. Very motivated today to come in and be outdoors and do some hikes, be on these trails. A lot of times we're always planning for the next trail, and a lot of times it's not in this area, it's outside of the Orlando area, and we plan for those usually now weekly, to do a different longer trail each week, or a unique trail, that is. Also, we're trying to keep pace with all these national days, and National Trails Day that was just on the June 7th. We've got a lot of other national holidays and different types of celebration days that are coming up, and I'm going to have to really research those. If you know of any that are very specific to what we're doing here, hiking, mental health, nature, let me know. I don't want to miss any. And if you're an organization that happens to be following me as well, let me know. Maybe you have a list of those that you can send me, or you can just reach out to me. Let me know what the next one is. We will surely plan for a video, or to be on a trail, or be outdoors for that, camping, hiking, whatever it may be. I definitely love to interact, and I will comment back to you. I will respond to you somewhere or another. If you comment on the videos or reach out to me at the Taste Buzz, TheTaste BUZZ, at the THE Taste TASTE dot Buzz, BUZZ. So the Taste Buzz at the Taste dot Buzz, and that's the email that you can reach us, and I'll respond to you. I've not fixed write a paragraph, but I'll respond to it. And obviously, if it's appropriate and it matches what we're doing, then we'll engage in that conversation. But that's what this is all about. This is really all about you, because I'm doing these videos for you, me, everyone, local, national, international, whoever's watching. And like I said, right now I'm training on a lot of local trails for the longer through hikes that are going to be approaching very quickly, as early as January of 2026, to be exact. So stay tuned and try to figure out some of these video lengths and how I want to show the trails, and the good balance between obviously talking about hiking and mental health, and talking about the trail, talking about the area, the history, all that's part of logistics that I do look at as I'm researching for the next trail. So if there's a certain trail that you would like to see, and maybe you're planning to be in Florida area or Central Florida area, and let me know, and I will go take a sneak peek at it for you and tell you what it's all about, and you can make a decision at that point. So this trail is a little bit over a mile in length, so it goes on for a while. But like I said, this is one of my favorites inside of the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve. As you can see, it's just a different ecosystem around each bend. So we go through the little swampy area and then go back to the forest of the pine trees and a little soft trail tread here. But definitely has that coverage, which is very appreciated from nature and for the folks that made the trail, because they were thinking ahead about this. All right, there's a little bit of area right here, so we've got a couple of roots here we can step on across, and there we go. We are free and clear. So nothing we can't get around. A little wet here, a little squishy, but no real standing water to speak of. It makes it fun, makes it interesting. Allows you to also see the real design of the trail, or the area the trail's in, because it allows you to see how the water drains and sits. So we should be getting close to the end. Yes, we are. We're right here. So we're coming to the trailhead for the Palmetto Passage, and we're joining with the Pine Crossing Trail right now. But there's the other trailhead. So Palmetto Passage, thank you for allowing me to be a visitor. Now let's continue hiking the Pine Circle Trail back towards the Nature Center. And we're going to eventually link up with the Screech Owl Trail, and in between the Pine Circle Trail and the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. So that'll be the last trail that we do. And then we'll take the Fallen Log Crossing Trail back to the Nature Center and summarize our day at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve. Let's keep hiking. Okay, we're continuing to hike the Pine Circle Trail, and we are intersecting right now with the trailhead for the Screech Owl Trail. So this is the last trail we're going to do today. So let's keep hiking and complete all the trails at the Tibet-Butler Nature Preserve. It's been a great day. I thought it was going to rain, and it still might. But right now the sun's back out, and we had a little cooling down period at the pavilion at the end of the Osprey Overlook Trail, and then we had another break from the sun as we hiked a little bit over a mile on the Palmetto Passage Trail. And now we're finishing up the trails on the Screech Owl Trail. Again, this trail is nestled in between the Pine Circle Trail and the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. So it's a very quick trail, but it's still a trail, and any trail is a good trail. And the trail tread on this is a little squishy today. Nothing the waterproof marrows can't handle. There were some signs up about the trails being flooded, and there is some water in some of them, but nothing we can't figure out a way through it or around it. Because your shoes will always drain. They'll dry. Your socks will dry. I always carry more than one pair of socks. So here's the Screech Owl Trail marker in the middle of the trail, actually, so we can go around it or whatever we may do. So we'll keep hiking, and we're just about to merge with the Fallen Log Crossing Trail. And that was that boardwalk we were going across a little bit earlier as we were heading towards the Tarflower Trail, as well as the Osprey Lookout Trail. And eventually we accessed the Palmetto Passage trailhead from the Fallen Log Crossing trail as well. So we're just, in a sense, going backwards a little bit. But that's what you got to do here. You got to access the bigger trails, the longer trails, to get to the shorter trails. So right now we're getting ready to actually intersect right now with the Pine Circle Trail. So let's go left towards the Nature Center as we access just a little bit of the Pine Circle Trail to achieve that goal. And you can see the Nature Center coming into view right now. This is a beautiful space. I love the way that it's set up and just got so many amenities. There's a lot of people that access this and use the grounds and for picnics or hiking or whatever may have you. I like what they've done with the place. They've cleared this area. This wasn't clear last time I was here. Just try to get that undergrowth out. So we have completed our full circle, about approximately 3.5 miles. And we are back at the Nature Center right now. Again, you've seen this sign twice already, but this is the Pine Circle Trail access, and I'm going to go ahead and turn around and walk back to the map and summarize what we've done. So here we are at the Nature Center, and we can see the map here. So we've done all these trails. So the Pine Circle Trail is 0.86 miles. That's right here. And then we did the Fallen Log Crossing, which is 0.54 miles. That'll link you over to this area here for the access to the Tarflower Loop, which we did, which is 0.49 miles. And then we did the Osprey Overlook, which is 0.13 miles. Again, that's just one way for that trail, but the loop is the longer miles, the longer distance. And we came back down the Fallen Log Crossing trail to access the Palmetto Passage, which we accessed right here. And we took that Palmetto Passage all the way around back to the Pine Circle Trail. So the Palmetto Passage is 1.08 miles based on the map. And that's more south in the park. And the Tarflower Loop is more north. The Osprey is east. The Pine Circle's more southwest. The Palmetto Passage encompasses east and south in the park. And then we finally ended up doing the Screech Owl Trail, which is right here. And that Screech Owl Trail is 0.11 miles, eventually getting back to the Fallen Log Crossing. And then we came back to the Nature Center, which we are here right now. So this concludes our hike today of the Tibet-Butler Preserve. And overall, 3.5 miles today. So thanks for watching and being with me today, and look forward to seeing you on the next trail.